Hi, welcome back to my channel. My name is Noelle, and today I'm talking about the International Certificate of Vaccination from the Bureau of Quarantine. Now, I'm not normally somebody you go to for travel advice, but I was really surprised to see so many people asking questions about this little yellow card. Now, it's not something that you actually need to get after you complete your COVID-19 vaccination regimen. Definitely not. But it's something that I wanted to get because I planned to go outside of the country, to travel outside of the country sometime this year. Obviously, with the enhanced community quarantine that's come down now, that's looking a little bit less likely. But yeah, I had somewhat definite plans and I just had to scrap those. But I still pushed through with my appointment to get this thing because appointment slots are kind of limited. But I'm getting ahead of myself, so I'm going to backtrack a little bit to let you know what this is about. Now, the Bureau of Quarantine, which is under the Department of Health, it's kind of the agency that issues these vaccination certificates. And it's not just for COVID-19 vaccines. In fact, this yellow booklet has been in use for, let's say, other illnesses that you need a vaccination or prophylaxis for. And that includes things like yellow fever, typhoid, even polio. So wow, it was 2 years ago. Remember 2 years ago when we had some polio outbreaks here in the Philippines and we were on the verge of being reclassified as a country with polio outbreaks? That would have meant if you were going to travel outside the Philippines, you would need to get a certification like this that said that you had gotten your polio vaccine shots. The BOQ, the Bureau of Quarantine, actually does immunizations at its branches, but what I went for here is a certification because the vaccination happened outside of the BOQ. It happened at my local government unit. So what the BOQ does is they just certify that yes, you did get your vaccination. So why is the BOQ the agency that's issuing this? Well, it's a little bit complicated and weird because initially, according to the National COVID Vaccination Operations Center, the Department of Information, Communication and Technology, DICT, was tasked to create a sort of national vaccination monitoring system. VIMS? I think that's the acronym. And there was a website for that. I think it was vaccinecertificate.dict.gov.ph. But I guess there were a few kinks in the works and that did not roll out on time. So the NVOC, the National COVID-19 Vaccination Ops Center, they had to issue an addendum or an amendment to their circular advisory. So it's advisory 55A that in the interim, it would be the Bureau of Quarantine who's going to issue this international certificate of vaccination for use in countries that require it. That means that when you get vaccinated, and I'm going to show you this is my vaccination card from the city of Pasig. That's the only thing you need if you're traveling within the country, if you want to take advantage of the vaccination perks from businesses, etc. You do not need this normally. However, if you're traveling outside the country, there may be some countries that don't accept vaccination cards as valid certificate of vaccination. And for those countries, you must present one of these as an international certificate of vaccination. You don't need this normally. The only reason I have it is I thought I would need it. So if you've just gotten vaccinated and you've passed the 2 weeks after your second dose, you're considered fully vaccinated, you're thinking about traveling outside of the country, do check the requirements of the place you're going to see if they need a plain vaccination card or an ICV. Usually, the only people who need ICVs are seamen and people traveling to certain places where they're trying to keep out yellow fever, typhoid, etc., or places that have these illnesses as endemic. And the only reason I'm trying to discourage people from grabbing one of these ICVs right after vaccination is because slots are limited and the Bureau of Quarantine is prioritizing OFWs and seamen and people with confirmed travel bookings as the ones they want to process first for these yellow cards. Okay? Now that that's been said, how do you get it? So the Bureau of Quarantine's website is quarantine.doh.gov.ph. And when you go there, you'll see a giant banner that says that they're opening a new Bureau of Quarantine satellite branch at the Mall of Asia, where I wanted to do my appointment at. So they actually do have an online appointment system. They call it the OBS, online booking system, and it's at boq.pisopay.com.ph. When you enter that website, you'll be asked where your location is so that you can see the nearest BOQ location. Unlike the Department of Foreign Affairs, the ones that issue our passports, the BOQ has a significantly smaller footprint across the country. In fact, I think there are only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 locations nationwide. Now, for a country with about 100 million people, those 9 locations aren't enough to service all of those people, especially if they're trying to get out of the country all at once. Now, if you do luck into a slot, you're going to have to upload pictures of your vaccination card front and back, as well as a picture of a valid government-issued ID. So make sure that you have those pictures, those images on your hard drive or on your phone before you fill out the booking for appointment. While you're booking for the appointment, you have to prepay for it, and it's about 300 pesos. But depending on the payment gateway that you choose, you might have to pay a surcharge. I used GCash, which is an e-wallet, and they charged me an additional 70 pesos on top of 300 pesos. Now, there are some people I know who tried to use a credit card to secure that appointment slot, and the website just kept making errors. So, yeah, make of that as you will. You can also pay for the appointment over the counter, but yeah, you can check it out on the website as you do your booking. Now, while you're booking, please take note of your reference number because that's the only way that you can retrieve your appointment information. The reference number plus your birth date will allow you access to your appointment information. And this system doesn't have email confirmations. So if you lose that reference number, you're going to have to try and book a new appointment all over again because there is no way to retrieve anything. Now, the good thing about the appointment with the Bureau of Quarantine versus the Department of Foreign Affairs is that on appointment day, which is the only time you show up there in person, they will print this right in front of you. Because you've already given them your information in advance, I assume that they have enough time to cross-reference that with your vaccinator, like your LGU, or if you were vaccinated privately, that private vaccinator would have given your information into the vaccine information database, the government. So there's a way to cross-check these things. Yeah, and they will print it for you right away. I am not showing you the inside of this card because that's my personal information, and also because I don't want to let people who fake these things see what's inside. I don't want to be the cause of a few fake ICVs floating around out there. No way. So on your appointment day, you show up with your valid ID, which you uploaded to the appointment system. So I used my passport, my vaccination card. That's the only thing they actually asked for. They printed it right in front of me, and now I am all dressed up with nowhere to go. During this enhanced community quarantine, I actually didn't know if the BOQ would be holding office. But I took a chance and went there anyway. And I found out that during this ECQ from August 6 to 20, their operating hours are 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. Now, if you booked an appointment slot after 2 p.m., you can always come earlier because they weren't even checking for appointment slot times They just have a record of everybody who they expect to come in on a certain day. All your information is pre-filled out on their computers, and all you have to do is confirm that this is the correct information that they're about to print out onto your yellow card. Like I mentioned, there are other things that they can certify or vaccinate you for. Hold on to this one, especially if you want to get any of those vaccinations in the future, because they are going to print all of that on the same ICV. Now, if you lose your ICV, if you want it reissued, you'll have to pay 300 pesos again. So guard this with your life. But again, you don't need it if you're not traveling outside of the country, because inside the country, just the vaccination card will do. And there are less than 10% of us anyway who have been fully vaccinated. So they don't really have policies in place that you can take advantage of if you're vaccinated in the first place. It's just little perks from businesses who want to encourage you to get vaccinated. I hope this helped you guys if you are thinking of getting an ICV, a Carte Jaune. First and foremost, I don't want to contribute to overloading the BOQ system because it is quite limited. But I know a lot of you are out there looking for this information, so I thought I would make it available to you right here. Alright guys, if you enjoyed this video, if this was informative, please do give me a thumbs up. If you haven't yet, please subscribe to my channel so I can see you again next time. Bye!